Good morning, Loretta, family, and friends of Ed. I don't know that there is a more appropriate place for us to gather and celebrate the life of Ed. Here in the midst of his boyhood home, in the university that he loved, and in the Memorial Church Chapel, dedicated to the memory of veterans. He grew up in College Park, deeply connected to the university and to the people who led it. He left after graduation, but College Park and the university never left his heart. Since you invited stories, shortly after I arrived in 2010, he invited me to have a tour of College Park. It was an extraordinary tour because his car became basically a time machine, transporting me 50 or so years ago. He stopped at certain homes, like the home of Curly Bird and of Jerry Eppley, later the Dean of Men, and of a professor in the College of Agriculture. And every place we stopped, he told me about this university. It was invaluable because as a new president, to not know the history of this university and the people who made possible the ascent of this university to the high stature that it now has in the world is to be like a tree without roots or a river without its source. And for this travel back in time, I shall always be grateful to Ed. And I remember thinking to myself, hearing about what Curly Bird and others have done for this university, Wallace, you better not screw it up. So for much of his adult life, he lived in the orbit of this university, deeply connected to the students, deeply committed to their success, and the scholarships that made possible their success, and deeply honoring those who shaped his life. So today is our turn to honor him. Ed was a serviceman who led a service-driven life. Service to home and country, service to ideals and high standards, service to family, the young, and the future. Service, giving back, standing up to help others was the pillar of his life and the lesson he sought to convey to our students in many different ways. And even until the final days of his life, he and I had communications on an innovative way to help support needy and deserving students. I am still inspired by his dream, and I would like to do everything possible to make his dream be fulfilled. And you all know that rubbing the nose of the student is a tradition that we all love. And so Ed and Loretta erected another testudo, actually donated the testudo that now sits in front of the Ricks Alumni Center. I'm sure it gives Ed and Loretta and members of his family enormous satisfaction to know that students dutifully walk past that vestibule and rub its nose before their exams and football games. At the foot of the vestibule is a plaque. That plaque lists the generations of the Downey family who are proud Terps. The Downey clan is an integral part of the fabric of this campus. And this tradition continues today through Ed's granddaughter, Katie, a rising sophomore who's here. And it was only a few months ago, last fall, when Ed talked to me. He was so proud and so happy that Katie's here. And I'm so glad also to know that Katie loves it here. Ed's endowed scholarships, along with his leadership and support for students, have contributed significantly to student life. But I'd like to tell you another story about Ed. He and three of his buddies, whom I call the Gang of Four, would from time to time take me out to lunch. These would be long, leisurely lunches. Hour and a half, 2 hours. One of them lasted 2.5 hours, and they were usually at the Capitol Grill. I benefited enormously from the wisdom of the Gang of Four, and especially, of course, from Ed. Because it is that deep knowledge and love that they have for this university, that there is no other way that a new president can acquire except from alumni who care so much about their alma mater. And as a loyal fraternity man, he had an unbreakable bond with his brothers. But he also upheld the highest ideals of Sigma Alpha Epsilon. He required accountability, and he did not accept shortcuts, even of the fraternity that he loved. And not very long ago, he was at this chapel, and he spoke movingly about the sacrifices of veterans. And today we remember his contribution as a veteran, because that is part of his legacy. It was truly an officer and a gentleman, a caring, gentle man with intense loyalties and commitments, strong beliefs, deep attachments, and a genuine modesty. As you know, Ed's father worked on the campus. He directed the state 4-H program. And I like to think that his devotion to the university, to young people like the students here, to the next generation, is because he absorbed the mission of 4-H that his father represented. And that mission is, quote, engaging youth to reach their fullest potential. Along with his family, Ed Downey's most lasting gift and testament is engaging youth to reach their fullest potential.